Almost everyone starts their journey into crypto with a very specific story. Governments print endless amounts of fiat currency, inflation destroys purchasing power, and the traditional financial system is effectively broken. The proposed cure is Bitcoin, a pristine, mathematically capped asset that runs entirely on its own. That story is compelling, it's logical, and it gave birth to a powerful culture. If you spend any time in crypto communities, you will quickly hear slogans like "fix the money, fix the world." You'll be told to stack sats, accumulate tiny fractions of a Bitcoin, and above all, never sell. The goal is a completely closed loop, entirely independent of traditional banking. Then you look at the messy reality of 2024 and 2025. Instead of a clean break from traditional finance, we see a massive influx of Wall Street institutions. Exchange-traded funds are launching, massive corporations are holding Bitcoin in their treasuries. And everyday users are constantly off-ramping, cashing out their crypto back into dollars, euros, or local currency. This creates immense cognitive dissonance. You have to ask yourself, did Bitcoin sell out its original mission? Or are we completely misunderstanding what this network actually is? To answer that, we have to stop treating Bitcoin as one single monolithic idea. We need to systematically deconstruct it into three distinct layers: the protocol, the narrative, and reality. Let's start at the very bottom. Layer 1, the protocol. To find out what the network actually is, we have to strip away the cultural assumptions and go straight to the foundational text, the 2008 white paper written by Satoshi Nakamoto. The text outlines a strict set of parameters. It describes a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. It explains the math of how blocks are validated by the network, and it provides a mechanism to prevent double spending without needing a central bank. But what is arguably more important is what the white paper doesn't say. Nowhere in the code or the text is there a mandate to never sell. There are exactly 0 restrictions on converting the asset back into fiat currency. The protocol doesn't care if you are a rebellious cypherpunk, a day trader, or a global asset manager. It is entirely neutral. It possesses no moral framework regarding who uses the network or for what purpose. The network operates on cold math. Because of that neutrality, all the rigid behavioral rules, the expectations of how you should use it, had to come from an outside source. That brings us to layer 2, the narrative. Humans are storytellers. When we encounter complex, groundbreaking technology, our natural instinct is to assign meaning to it and project a vision for its future. Early adopters looked at this neutral technical system and applied their own hopes to it. Over time, they transformed a piece of software into a moral imperative and a rigid ideology. Under this ideology, the community redefined standard financial actions. Moving wealth back into fiat, off-ramping, became a cultural sin, a betrayal of the network's supposed mission. A lot of the confusion in the modern crypto space stems from this exact point. Users are accidentally taking the passionate, human storytelling of Layer 2 and treating it as if it were the mathematical truth of Layer 1. But what happens if we actually try to live perfectly by the narrative? Let's move to Layer 3, the reality. Imagine you decide to never use an off-ramp again. You attempt to survive economically using only a closed-loop system. This diagram illustrates the double coincidence of wants. In a strict barter system, it's not enough to hold something of value. You must find someone with the exact goods you need who also wants what you offer. Applied to a Bitcoin-only extreme, your survival relies on finding a landlord willing to accept your asset. In a sparse network without off-ramps, you face extreme friction. When exchanges first appeared, they didn't corrupt the protocol. They simply scaled a natural human requirement. They built an efficient bridge to the massive pre-existing economy where everyone else already lives. The vast majority of the world's goods and services are still priced and traded in traditional money. For a user to buy food or pay taxes, interacting with physical banknotes, like the Indonesian rupiah we see here, is a daily necessity. Converting back to fiat isn't a sign that the protocol has failed. It is an inevitable adaptation to the messy, complicated reality of global trade. Which brings us back to our opening tension. When we look out at the landscape today, we see Wall Street ETFs, corporate treasuries holding digital assets, and everyday people swapping in and out of local currency. This chaotic, divergent adoption serves as the ultimate proof of Bitcoin's most defining feature. To be permissionless is to operate on math that is entirely blind. It cannot judge, filter, or block an action simply because a specific community disapproves of who holds the asset or why they use it. The rules of the protocol haven't changed a single line since 2008. The code is exactly the same. It is the human world around it that has evolved in entirely unpredictable directions. There is a well-known maxim in crypto: don't trust, verify. When you strip away the rigid human narratives and verify the mechanics for yourself, you don't find a failed utopia. You find a neutral, unyielding tool, quietly processing blocks, while adapting to the immense complexity of human reality.